Right now, without thinking about it, you pull the phone out of your pockets. You tap a little map, and in less than a second, a glowing blue dot appears, and it knows exactly where you are standing. Inside a building, underground, in a city you have never visited. It just knows. Here's the part nobody tells you. To find that dot, your phone is quietly listening to clocks. Not the clock on your wall, clocks floating 12,000 miles above your head. Clocks so precise that engineers had to correct them for Einstein's theory of relativity, or the map would slowly place you in the wrong city by lunchtime. That blue dot feels simple. It is one of the most complicated things humanity has ever built. And before we pull it apart, lock in a guess right now. How many separate systems do you think your phone uses to find you? 1? 3? More? Comment your number, and by the end you will find out if you were right. Let's start 12,000 miles up. Orbiting the Earth are around 30 satellites. This is the Global Positioning System run by the United States Space Force. Each satellite carries an atomic clock, a clock so accurate it loses less than a second every few million years. And each one is doing one boring, relentless job, broadcasting the time and its own position over and over, down to the ground. Here's the first surprise. Your phone never talks back. It does not send anything up to space. It only listens. GPS is a one-way whisper from the sky, and your phone is just quietly eavesdropping. So how does listening to a clock tell you where you are? Distance. The signal travels at the speed of light. So if your phone knows the exact moment the message left the satellite, it can work out how far away that satellite is. But one satellite is not enough. One satellite only tells you that you are somewhere on a giant invisible sphere around it. You could be anywhere on that bubble. Add a second satellite and the two spheres overlap in a ring. A third narrows it down to two possible points, and the fourth pins you to a single spot on Earth. Which brings us back to Einstein. Those atomic clocks in orbit do not tick at the same speed as clocks on the ground. They are higher up, where Earth's gravity is weaker, and they are moving incredibly fast. Both of those things bend time. The result, first predicted by Einstein and later measured exactly, is that each satellite clock runs about 38 millionths of a second fast, every single day. It sounds like nothing. It is not. If engineers ignored it, GPS would drift by about 10 kilometers a day. Your navigation would be useless within hours. So every phone in your pocket is silently trusting a correction from a physics equation almost no one who uses it has ever read. Okay, so we have solved it, right? Clocks in space, 4 satellites, done. Except try using that blue dot inside a shopping mall, or a parking garage, or a subway tunnel. Watch what happens. The dot freezes. It smears across the map. Sometimes it jumps straight through a wall. Because GPS has a weakness. Those whispers from space are faint, and they need a clear view of the sky. Walls block them. Tunnels kill them. And in a downtown full of skyscrapers, what engineers call an urban canyon, the signal bounces off glass and steel, arriving late and lying to your phone about the distance. So how does the dot still find you, standing deep inside a building, with no sky at all? It stops looking up, and it starts looking around. Here is the second system, and it is a strange one. Your phone is quietly listening for Wi-Fi. Not to connect to it, it does not need the password. It is just noting the name and the signal strength of every Wi-Fi router within range. Now, here is why that matters. Somewhere, there is a colossal database that maps hundreds of millions of Wi-Fi routers to their real physical locations. Your phone overhears 3 or 4 routers, checks that list, and triangulates you, often to within a few meters. Indoors, with no satellite at all. And where did that giant map of the world's routers come from? Partly by accident. When Google's Street View cars drove down nearly every road on Earth photographing houses, they were also quietly logging every Wi-Fi network they passed. A side effect of one project became a global positioning system in its own right. But there is a third layer, because even if you turn Wi-Fi off and GPS cannot see the sky, your phone usually still knows roughly where you are. The cell towers. The moment your phone is switched on, it is registered to the nearest towers. That is simply how it receives calls. But by measuring which towers it can reach and how strong each signal is, the network can place you inside a rough circle. Not to the meter, but to the neighborhood, the block. And this is the layer that quietly records where you have been, long before any app ever asks. So now count them. GPS from space, Wi-Fi from the buildings around you, cell towers from the network. 3 completely different systems, each one covering the other's blind spots. And here's the part that actually feels like magic. Your phone does not pick one of them. It uses all of them at once. It is called sensor fusion. Dozens of times every second, your phone takes the guess from GPS, the guess from Wi-Fi, and the guess from the towers, and blends them into one answer, trusting whichever looks best in that moment. On Android, this is literally called the fused location provider. That smooth blue dot gliding down the road is not a measurement. It is a running average of several systems arguing with each other. And it does not stop there. Your phone also has its own motion sensors, the same ones that count your steps. When you drive into a tunnel and lose every signal, the accelerometer and compass keep dead reckoning you forward, estimating your position from your movement alone until the sky comes back. There is even a barometer inside your phone, a tiny air pressure sensor. Air pressure drops as you go higher, so your phone can measure it and guess which floor of a building you are on. Not just where you are on the map, how far up. So, let's go back to that guess you made at the start. The blue dot you tapped was never one thing. It is satellites correcting for relativity, a secret map of the planet's Wi-Fi, a web of cell towers, a motion sensor, and a barometer. 4 or 5 separate systems, arguing dozens of times a second, and averaging their way to a single point that says, "You are here." And here is the quiet, slightly unsettling part. This machine is now so good that it barely needs the satellites at all. Turning off the thing you call GPS does not turn off being found. The dot almost always finds its way back to you. You carry the most sophisticated locating device in human history in your pocket, right next to your keys. It took the theory of relativity, an atomic clock, and a map of the entire planet just to draw one little blue circle. And you have never once wondered how it knew. So here is my question for you. Knowing everything that dot really is now, does that convenience still feel worth it? Or does it feel a little bit creepy? Comment which side you land on. I genuinely want to see where people fall. We get curious about the stuff nobody thinks to ask. Subscribe and feed your idle curiosity.